just react to doing that again?
It's a great feeling. I mean, we definitely had the goal of getting back here, but we definitely want to go further this year. So I'm just ready to get after it again.
It's exciting. I mean, it's a good team out there we just beat, and getting a chance to go back to Sweet 16 is what we've been working for this whole year.
James?
You guys had a lot of success tonight. Can you tell us a little bit about your performances tonight?
Jen, start.
Like individually or just as a team?
Yeah.
I think it just came down to heart and not wanting to lose. Like, I'm always going to want to win. Like, that's what's going to come out in me. And, like, I'm not going to want to lose.
Okay.
I would say a lot of my teammates. I mean, Jenn drew 2 defenders numerous times on backdoors, and I just happened to be open. Cutting hard, moving quickly, moving the ball around. My teammates found me when I was open, and I was able to hit some shots.
Okay, does it seem like the shots come easier when you start getting on a roll like you did in that second half?
I'm a very emotional player, so yes, once I hit a few and see a few go in, it's much easier. And once I see my teammates succeed, put the ball in the basket, Catherine right off the bat, I believe got off a ball screen and got fouled, and so from there just rolling. Yeah, and my teammates found me wide open. I mean, can't ask for much more than that.
For the both of you, how did their defense compare to others you've seen this season? Was that one of the tougher defenses you faced?
Jen first.
I think kind of. We just had to make reads today, and then know like when MK saw that she was wide open, drawing players. It's like just taking the shot that we have.
And I wouldn't say they're necessarily the best defensive team we've seen, but I would say they're one of the most physical teams we've seen defensively. They bumped cutters very well. They made everything very difficult on offense for us. Every shot was tough.
The fact that you guys were kind of able to pull away there in the last 6 minutes or so against a tough defense that was making you work for stuff, does that speak well for what you guys are capable of doing in the Sweet 16?
MK?
I think so. I mean, that's a good team, like I said. I mean, going out and being able to score on them, just knowing that that's the kind of caliber we're going to see when we advance is always important. Experience and knowing what's going to come next.
We've had numerous games where it comes down to the wire, and I think it is a testament to our team that we come out on top of that. And it's just, as I said before, it's like a lot of heart, and like we're going to win.
Any more questions from players?
Yeah, Jen, you had a couple times where you were kind of cherry picking down, as soon as you got the inbound. That worked. I mean, you always hustle down, and you guys try to always get those deep passes, but they kind of seem to work a little bit more tonight. Was there something behind that, or was it just that's the way it happened?
I think we definitely just like tired them down. Like towards the end, they were just getting tired. We kind of took away their will a little bit, and I think that's what happened.
Also, Jenn doesn't really cherry pick. She takes off like a bullet. She's at the 3-point line next to me. She's standing next to me, and she's out the other end. Like, she just goes. So unbelievable, unbelievable. Yeah.
Well,
she's good at it. Whatever it is, she's good at it.
Do you guys feel like you're playing your best basketball this season right now?
Honestly, I think we can get better. Offensively, we've struggled in the first half. So yes, our second halves are phenomenal, but we've yet to put a full game together, which is kind of scary in my opinion for a lot of teams that are going to see us. So yes.
I agree with that completely. I mean, like our first half starts, we definitely need to work on that, but like second half we're finishing strong. Definitely have to work on the first half.
The last 2 nights, right around 25% or so shooting in the first half. Why is it just nerves, or is it just trying to get in the groove, or what do you think it is?
I think we're definitely trying to find a flow, and like it just wasn't happening early. But like we said in the second half, we found that flow, and everything was just going in.
Also, their shooters, it's kind of tough for you guys to close out on in the first half. They were draining some shots outside, and then it seemed like you guys made a real effort to like close in on that in the second half. So what did you guys talk about that at halftime, like, or?
Yeah, we talked about it at halftime. We talked about it before the game. So that's our fault. We'll take that one as the players. We knew their shooters, and we just, whether it's underestimating them or not, but once they make a few, we are pretty good at adjusting. We just got to come out a little quicker on those shooters.
All right, thank you guys. We'll take questions for Dan now. You're free to go if you'd like.
Thanks.
What was
That's
the
all you,
halftime,
Coach.
what was the theme of halftime? You made it a one-point game at the end there, but they were giving you all you could handle.
From a defensive standpoint, it was just, reinforcing, the players that we had to focus on. That was important. And from an offensive standpoint, we really just try to get the kids to understand to just relax and play. The one thing that we did talk about, though, was the difference between how Haverford were setting their screens and how difficult it was to get through their screens compared to ours. Sometimes we don't do the best job of setting screens for each other. So I think that was another thing that we tried to really emphasize offensively. And then it was obvious, I think, to everybody that our post players struggled today in one-on-one situations. So what we really tried to do is create opportunities where if we were going to get it to our post players, it was off a movement, either coming off a screen so they could seal, or we would go off ball screens and then look for the opposing post players to help, and we would dump it into them. So because in a one-on-one situation, we just weren't successful tonight.
Aaron needs to start tonight. What was the thought process behind that?
That was a decision that we had to make based on some things that happened earlier in the day, and I'd rather leave it at that.
Dan, how does this defense of Haverford tonight compare to what you've seen the rest of the year? Is this one of the tougher defenses? Does it speak well that you were able to pull away from them late? Just talk about kind of the defense that you had to face.
I think, Jenn and Mary Kate touched on it really well. They were very physical and also size. This was a team that matched up very well with us size-wise, where for a good share of the year, especially in the conference, we're generally bigger than most of the teams that we face. So that's the one thing that we had to adjust to, was their size and their physicality. But it's a great opportunity for us to play against that type of team, because going forward, that's what we're going to see.
Good practice then tonight.
Yes. Yeah, if you want to call it practice.
Talk about the state of your program right now, Dan. I know you're focused on this year and this team and this week and the upcoming game against Amherst. But what does it mean in the big picture about where Ithaca stands right now in the Nationals picture?
Well, I just, it's all about recruiting. It really is. And you think Division III, how do you recruit at the Division III level? It's a challenge. It definitely is a challenge. So we have to identify, students that have the academic profile that we feel fit here at Ithaca College, and then they also have to be the type of basketball players that we want here too. And what it says, the success that we've had. We had one of our students that has committed to come to Ithaca. She was here today from Albany, and then a junior who was seriously considering Ithaca came up from Philadelphia to watch. So I think that bodes well for us in the recruiting game, if you want to call it that. So we are getting recognized. We are at least getting the attention of the type of students that we want and basketball players that we want. Now it's just a matter of convincing them that this is the right place.
Coach Raymond from Deposit said that you guys probably made changes at halftime yesterday. Did you make any changes today during halftime, and if so, were they the same?
They weren't the same, but yeah, from an offensive standpoint, we tried to get our posts out, try to get their bigs out of the lane. And you could see the very first play of the second half when we had Catherine come off a ball screen and go to the basket hard. That was kind of something that Catherine, our Bixby, was the one that we really kind of put it in her hands to kind of help us figure that out. Defensively, you're not going to give a ton of credit to our kids. They're the ones that decided to start mixing it up a little bit during the course of the game. We do two different defenses, man-to-man defenses, one where we switch everything and one where we don't switch. And they were making those calls themselves out on the floor. So it was awesome to have them understand when the timing was right to do those switching defenses.
The girls said this isn't yet their best game. It's still out there. What do you need to do to play that best game?
If I knew the exact answer to that, I would probably be coaching at a really high level right now. It's really hard, it's the first half struggle. And it's something that we have faced basically all season long, off and on, We haven't been consistent with our play in the first half. So somehow, and again, it's going to be, you know, a conversation that we have with our players to try to figure out what can we do to get us off to a better start than we have been of late. Because again, when the level of competition rises, we can't afford to be, you know, scoring, you know, 2 points in the first 7-8 minutes of a game. You know, that's something that we're going to have to, you know, rectify quickly.
Bobby and Morgan talked about the relationship with each other. Just touch on that a little bit. She seemed very complimentary of you.
It's really cool the way that we have this relationship, and there's several coaches. I've been very fortunate. Probably over 10 years ago, I got invited down to work an elite camp down at Princeton University, and the coach at that point had just come from the Division III level. So he recognized that we're basically recruiting the same type of students, you know, really high academic students. So he, you know, sent out an invitation to certain Division III schools that had really good academic reputation, and so I got started down there, and I've been going ever since. And I've actually been at that camp longer than the current staff has. So that's how Bobby's there, because Haverford is an awesome academic institution as well. So it's a really neat experience. The Princeton staff is great. The camp is really, really good. We get, you know, kids are there, you know, 75, 80 kids from all over the country, you know, and all the kids that are at that camp, we don't have to worry about them getting into Ithaca. They can get into Ithaca with their SAT scores because of the kids that are in their database. They're the kids that are there, and then also they have to open it up, you know, according to NCAA. So there are some other kids there as well, but you're working with great students. You're working with great coaches because there's probably a dozen other Division III coaches there, and then as well we're working with the Princeton staff. So, and then the Princeton players, and it's an awesome place to be, and it's a great 3 days to be down there and mixing it up with, you know, exchanging ideas on different things, and just working with really, really quality people.
And it's in the summertime?
Yes, yeah.
Cool.
All right, thank you, Dan. Thank you guys for the coverage.